Welcome back to another one of my videos. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lata, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really easy fruit insert for your next layered cake. Now, just as an example, I'm going to be making a mango fruit insert just because I'm going to be using that for a cake later on, but the recipe is going to stay pretty much exactly the same no matter what fruit you use. That being said, you're going to need 500 grams of frozen or fresh fruit. In my case, I'm using mango. You're also going to need 20 grams of sugar, the juice of half a lemon, 1 package of gelatin. In my case, that's 9 grams, but you basically just want enough gelatin for 500 milliliters of liquid. It should say on the back of your package. Some weigh 10 grams, some weigh 9 grams, some weigh 8 grams. But it should say on the back of the package that it's good for 500 milliliters of liquid. And last but not least, you're going to need about 100 milliliters of liquid or less just for your gelatin to bloom. Now, if you're using frozen fruit like myself, you're going to want to let it thaw completely. Alternatively, you can also throw it into the microwave for like 30-second increments until it's completely thawed as well. Now, I did mention earlier that you can use just about any fruit or combination of fruit that you want. However, there is an exception. Now, certain fruits such as pineapple do not go well with gelatin, and it actually stops the gelatin from doing what it's supposed to do, and you end up with a soupy mess that will just not thicken. So just be aware of that. Now, the other exception are bananas. Now, bananas, as you probably know, they just don't have a lot of moisture in them. So that means you have to add more moisture to it, which is water, in order to get the same result. So in that case, you would use 300 grams of banana and then 200 milliliters of water to make sure you get to that 500 milliliter mark. And I mean, that can be said for all fruits because all fruits have a different level of moisture and water in it. And thus, if you don't have enough fruit to get to the 500 milliliter mark, you can always just add a little bit of water or fruit juice in order to bring it up to that mark. Now that we've pretty much covered all of our do's and don'ts, let's get to making the actual fruit insert, which is super easy. Now, essentially, all we're going to do is let our gelatin bloom with our water, and we're going to go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients into a bowl or blender, and we're going to blend that up until we have a nice smooth consistency. Now, at this point, you may choose to sieve your fruit puree to make sure that any seeds like raspberry seeds or blackberry seeds get removed. If you don't care if you have seeds in your fruit insert, leave them in. I know a lot of people don't like them, so if you want to go that extra step and sieve it out, this is the time to do so. Now, basically, all that's left to do is bring our fruit puree up to a boil so that it reduces just a little bit before we turn the heat off and gently whisk in our bloom gelatin. While we wait for our mango puree to cool down just a little bit before we add our gelatin, we can go ahead and prep our molds. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. You can use plates, bowls, baking tins, etc., etc. You basically just want to make sure that the shape that you use is slightly smaller than the size of your cake. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to find something that is slightly smaller than your cake. So if it is a little bit bigger, that's okay. You can just cut it to size later on. But if you have something that's slightly smaller, try to use that because it's going to just save you a step. The next thing you need to decide is how many and how thick you want your layers to be. Now I'm going to make 3 layers, so they're not going to be super thick and they're not going to be super thin. If you want to make 4 fruit layers, they're going to be a little bit thinner, and if you just want to make 2, they're going to be a little bit thicker, but that's pretty obvious. Now it doesn't matter what you end up using as your mold, you want to make sure that your fruit layer doesn't stick to it so that you can transfer it to your cake. So to do that, we're just going to cover it in plastic wrap. So I'm just going to take a sheet of my plastic wrap, cover my plate. That way it's not going to stick to the plate and I can easily just flip it right onto my cake when I'm layering it. Now the last thing we need to do is evenly distribute our fruit puree into our 3 molds. Now you can either throw these into the freezer for about 30 minutes to let them set, or you can put them into the fridge for 1 to 2 hours. Regardless of what you do, you just want to make sure that they are completely set before you layer your cake. That being said, these are also great to make ahead because you can just store them in the freezer for a couple of months and then use them however you need in your cakes. Especially if you have a lot of fresh fruit on hand and you don't really know what to do with it, this is a great option for you because you can use these fruit inserts later on in cakes or in other pastries, etc. But you get to use up your fresh fruit while it's still ripe and it's not going bad. So that's going to be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, you can give it a thumbs up or write me a comment down below. And as always, the whole recipe is going to be in the description box as well.